Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of What If Shatter and Dropkick were in Transformers Prime. So without further ado, let's get right to it.
We start off with Starscream as he tells Soundwave, we must find some new troops to take the place of Shatter and Dropkick. Loyal warriors that will not betray me. But wait, legend tells of one warrior on this planet. Come Soundwave, let us find this warrior. Meanwhile, we get the Shatter and Dropkick, who roll in and start running, and soon enough, they come across
Soundwave and Starscream as they take out a stasis pod from a mountain, and they start running over there to get them away from this pod. But the stasis pod activates, and Skyquake awakens just as the two look across from each other. Soundwave walks away to leave Starscream to this confrontation.
What are you doing here, you traitors?
Dropkick growls, but Shatter says, "Traitors, you want to talk, Starscream? You're always the one attempting to betray Lord Megatron. But I am trying to live up to his name." And Skyquake thinks to himself, "Wait, Lord Megatron is dead? Impossible." Shatter then says, "Yes, he's gone. But if you join my side, we will see to it that he is reborn one day." Starscream then growls and looks to Skyquake. "I, Starscream, revived you. Therefore, I am now your master." And then Skyquake looks down at Starscream. "Urgh." And that is when Optimus Prime arrives. And they say more or less the same things to each other. With Optimus looking to Starscream, "If you want to be a true leader, then stray from Megatron's path and lead the Decepticons toward peace. I would be willing to consider a truce if you'd be wanting to bow before me, Optimus Prime." And Skyquake hits him. Optimus then says, "Skyquake, side with the Autobots and help me end this conflict forever." Shatter and Dropkick step beside Skyquake, and Skyquake gives Shatter a nod that he's with them, and then looks at Optimus. "I will never side with a Prime." And then the three charge. The three then begin to overwhelm Optimus Prime. That is when Cliffjumper and Bumblebee come in shooting at the Decepticons. Shatter engages Cliffjumper and Dropkick engages Bumblebee, and the four start fighting. With Dropkick trying to use his cannon on Bumblebee, but Bumblebee manages to shoot the cannon and it aims up. And Shatter and Cliffjumper have a sword fight, with them being fairly evenly matched. That is until Cliffjumper uses his leg to trip Shatter. But this is when Skyquake scans the jet mode of Agent Fowler's jet, and he then takes to the skies, with Shatter and Dropkick joining him, and the three start laying fire on Optimus, Bumblebee, and Cliffjumper. Skyquake wants to stay and finish the Autobots, but Shatter and Dropkick insist they retreat. They will get them soon, but first they must rally a team to stand a chance. And so they go. The Autobots return to base, and Starscream actually finds Megatron still. And soon enough, we see Bulkhead and RC find something notable held in the ice. Optimus Prime and Cliffjumper go investigate the Arctic, while Ratchet, Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and RC handle the scraplets back at the Autobot base with the humans. So yeah, that episode goes more or less the same, with all the little details that I gave that were really different from the original. And soon enough, Wheeljack arrives on the scene and joins the Autobots, but little do they know, it's Makeshift. Bulkhead, Cliffjumper, and Wheeljack, Makeshift, play some lobbying, and I can imagine this being one of the changes in this timeline. And another change in this timeline is that Makeshift actually manages to bring through the Decepticons into the Autobot base. The reason why, because in this timeline, Starscream and Soundwave are actually managing to put more up a fight against Wheeljack, which is preventing him from going through the ground bridge to assist his fellow Autobots. So Makeshift and the Viacons are kind of overwhelming the Autobots. But soon enough, the base starts to rumble from the outside. Shatter, Dropkick, and Skyquake are attacking from the outside. Cliffjumper, seeing that they're being overwhelmed from all sides, immediately takes charge, acts, and thinks of a plan. He takes down Makeshift, grabbing Miko, and then ordering Ratchet to get the humans to safety, ordering Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and RC to go outside and face the three Decepticons. Cliffjumper then goes through the space bridge to look for Wheeljack and sees Wheeljack facing Soundwave and gives him a hand. He shoots Starscream, picks him up and throws him into Soundwave. He then looks to Wheeljack. Come on, let's get out of here. And Wheeljack says, I like you. And so they go. But before, Wheeljack leaves a bomb which blows up and Soundwave and Starscream escape like in canon. Meanwhile, Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and RC are fighting Shatter, Dropkick, and Skyquake. And Optimus shows up, and very quickly the tide turns back to the Autobots. But Shatter and Dropkick look in surprisement, cause the scales of power are turning back again more into the Autobots' favor. As all the Autobots unite and start opening fire on them, and seeing that they are even more outnumbered than before, the three retreat. However, the Autobots' current base has been discovered and jeopardized, and thus they must find a new base. So they go in and get all of their resources. Bulkhead looks for Makeshift around the Autobot base, but he's not there. We then cut to Makeshift as he walks far away from the Autobot base. Grr, I failed Starscream. If I return, I'll probably be tossed aside for my failure. He then bumps into the three Decepticons. Not returning to obey Starscream, that's one thing we have in common. Makeshift says, who are you all? Well, for sure we're bots who do not see Starscream fit to lead us. I, Shatter, and my partner here, Dropkick, have our own views of leadership. And since Megatron is gone, we will make sure that all Decepticons bow before us and lead them in his honor. Makeshift then agrees to join. Meanwhile, at the Autobots' new base, Hangar E, Wheeljack decides to stay on Earth because there's Cliffjumper, who's pretty cool, and Bulkhead, you know? And he saw Optimus Prime a little bit in action, so he has a little respect for him now. And so he scans his vehicle mode and officially decides to stay on Earth. We now get to Agent Fowler, who asks for help in transporting the Dingus, in which Optimus and the Autobots all offer to help transport the Dingus by road. He doesn't transport it by jet here. The bots help. Soon enough, the Autobots encounter some sort of team. They don't know who this is. Cliffjumper says, this ain't Shatter and Dropkick for sure. And just like in canon, Silas introduces himself to Agent Fowler, and the Autobots get rid of the Dingus on the train. Soon enough, that squadron of Viacon arrives. But with how many Autobots there are right now, the Viacon squadron was easily killed off. I mean easily. And Optimus still proceeds to stop the train just like in canon. Silas and Mech then retreat, with some beginner's info on Cybertronians. However, Silas gets something on his computer. A location. And it says meet us there. And so they arrive, weapons aimed, where Shatter and Dropkick introduce themselves. You two, you're just like those visitors. That may be true. We are like those bots you encountered, but we are a different faction. Please explain more. Those you encountered are called the Autobots. They fight for peace and harmony. So disgusting, Dropkick says. However, we, the Decepticons, seek to conquer this universe and bring it under our control. And why are you Decepticons here, in our base? Because we would like to form an alliance with you, humans. Mech is our name, and I am Silas. Well, friend Silas, do you agree to our alliance proposal? I suppose, but you better prove useful to us. Makeshift and Skyquake then arrive in the background. Oh, friend Silas, you misunderstand us by our looks. We are more than capable than proving useful. Very well, I accept this alliance deal. Shatter and Dropkick then look at each other, smiling, as they have just formed an alliance with Mech. And that's where I'm gonna leave it off here, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed part 2, and I'll see you guys in part 3.